As a yokozuna, you must obstruct your new rival for the good of sumo. He will grow because of it. And in turn, your new rival will both change and improve you. Hakuho's view remains unchanged since he thought that of Harumafuji in 2012. Just look at how determined he is to toughen up Takakeisho and Asanoyama today. After being deprived of supreme rival Asashoryu in early 2010, he began to win so often and so easily that his motivation dropped. After 4 perfect scores on the trot, he was all set to break Futabayama's pre-war record of 69 straight wins in November 2010. But then, 24-year-old Kisenosato stepped up. The warning bell had been rung in May of that year. Hakuho expected to slap Kisei into submission as usual, but was hit with a clunking right as payback. A flurry of roundhouses ensued, and the hitherto sleepy crowd cried out in delight as Kisenosato gave as good as he got. In those days of half-empty arenas, such sumo publicity was priceless. Of course Hakuho won, and again in July, and again in September. But Kisenosato was making him think, and not for the first time. One of the surprising admissions from Hakuho's second autobiography is that Kisenosato had the most profound impact on his sumo during his Ozeki days. It's almost forgotten now, but at the time it was far from certain which of the two men would make the top first, especially when Kisei beat Ozeki Hakuho 3 times in a row. I've already told you about Asashoryu's advice following the first of those defeats. But Hakuho also had some thinking of his own to do. I had lost 3 straight to the man seen as my rival, and each time I lost by Tsukiotoshi thrustover, he writes. When I faced Kisenosato, from somewhere within came these strong feelings of rivalry which screamed, "Secure your favoured stance or risk certain defeat." This increased my anxiety to the extent that when I failed to get my left frontal grip, I just blanked. Hence, I kept losing by Tsukiotoshi. Hence, I couldn't even hope to focus on winning through in that particular bout. That's when I learned, you can't go all out to win. You have to master the technique of detecting winning chances based on the flow of the bout. And the only way to acquire that ability is through sheer devotion to training. 3-3 against Kisei at the moment of that reflection, Hakuho won 18 of their next 19 bouts, leading 21-4 on the day of their November 2010 showdown. But the closer to Futabayama's record he got, the greater the self-doubt became. Is it really okay for me to overtake him? Hakuho began to think. The crack in his spirit opened up, and Kisenosato exploited. At the tachiai, I pushed into him hard, Hakuho recounts, but he resisted and pushed back. I then sent 2 vicious slaps to his face, but left my armpit open to his pushing attack. While retreating, I tried to save myself with both a scoop throw and an inside leg trip, but was forced out before they could take effect. I was just 6 wins short of equaling Futabayama. The shock was immense. He continues, I spent a full 20 minutes in the bath reflecting on that one, essentially recalling what it was like to lose. And when the time came to be interviewed, I paraphrased Futabayama's words uttered when his winning run had ended. I, Hakuho, am still not the finished article. I studied the match video in the evening and still couldn't believe it was real. I even whimpered to my attendant, if I lose tomorrow, I'm pulling out. But on reflection, I came to accept I was too conceited. Futabayama set his record under the 2-tournament system. It took him over 3 years to do it. How disrespectful was I to think I could emulate him in just 1 year. Hakuho thus dusted himself down to focus on the remainder of the tournament, and proceeded to win it. After first defeating Kisenosato in September 2003, Hakuho was convinced the two would ride to the top together, and was astonished when Kisenosato fell off midway. But in 2013, his frame bulked up with weights, his mind bulked up with psychological training, Kisenosato finally came good, and Hakuho was overjoyed. Harumafuji became my rival in 2012, and Kisenosato did likewise in 2013, he writes. During tournaments, I often watch videos of my own bouts, but not normally those of my rivals. However, in May 2013, I watched Kisenosato's matches intently and made sure to study him, because he was really getting good. It was the only time in 17 years that Kisenosato would win all of his first 13 bouts. Only Hakuho stayed unbeaten with him. Only Hakuho could stop him on day 14. Kise pushed him all the way, shrugging off the face slap, getting the left in as planned, refusing to be bullied on the belt. More than matching Hakuho for power, backing him up against the rope. It still wasn't enough, though. The Yokozuna turning a right knee defense into attack by tipping him one way and throwing him the other, diving on top of his chest as he fell to keep the raging beast down. Kisenosato did very little wrong. Hakuho knew only a vintage performance could have repelled him, and made sure to pay a fitting tribute in his title interview the next day. "He's come on so much, both physically and mentally," he told the crowd. "He'll likely be challenging for Yokozuna next time, so everybody, get behind him." We'll look at that Yokozuna challenge and many others in more detail when we cover Kisenosato's autobiography. For now, let it be known that Hakuho respected him immensely and credited him with saving his career in 2010. "If I'd broken Futabayama's record," he said last year, "I might have felt there was nothing left to achieve and given up. But Kisenosato rekindled my fighting spirit that day. Without his intervention, I wouldn't have gone on to achieve so much."